Well, here we are in the middle of December 2024, and it's time for another market update. So in today's video, we're going to talk about pricing, inventory, days on market, list price to sell price ratio, and several other statistics that have a lot to do with how our inventory is moving here in the Lakewood Ranch area. Hello, it's Mark Boehmig, Michael Saunders and Company. Today we're going to talk about the inventory levels and what's going on here in the Lakewood Ranch market as far as pricing. So for the month of November, these are going to be the statistics for 34202 and 34211, which are the two zip codes which make up a majority of the Lakewood Ranch area that fall into Manatee County. So this is going to be for single family homes only. This will not include the condominiums. So we have a total of 547 homes that were currently active on the market at the end of November. And we had 112 sold. Now that 112 sold was actually down quite a bit, and it has not been that low since January of 2024. But the number of pending sales were up quite significantly. So we were at 131 pending. So that would mean that probably when we do this report for January for the month ending in December, we're going to see our number of sales that actually go up for the month of December. I think that this is very typical of a seasonal swing, but if you can look at this chart, you can see this bell-shaped curve, how we get more inventory and we get more sales towards the end of December into January, February, March, and then it starts to tail off a little bit in April because that's when our big selling season here is for the Lakewood Ranch area and for a majority of Florida's Gulf Coast. Now, what about pricing? Well, pricing ended up at $374 a square foot. We usually maintain between $350 and $400 a square foot, depending on season and depending what actually gets closed out for the previous month. So $374 a square foot is pretty good, pretty average. And as you can see, there is not a decrease in pricing here, as a lot of people think that we are not going down in pricing relative to the price per square foot. Days on market, 82. That's kind of high, but that's reflective in the amount of inventory and how the sales are actually a little bit slower. So 82 days on market is the average time that it takes to sell a property here in Lakewood Ranch. And then the list price to sell price ratio is running at 92%. So for instance, if a house was listed at $1 million, that means that the total sales price usually would end up somewhere around $920,000. Now, what about the actual pricing of the homes? Well, the average list price for a home here in those two zip codes in Lakewood Ranch was $978,000. And then the average sold price was $1,009,000. The median, the one that fell right in the middle, was $753,000 for the month ending in November of 2024. And so that leads us with inventory. So with these numbers, from the number of sales that we had to the number of properties that were available on the market, if you take those two and divide them together, you come up with 4.9 months of inventory. So our inventory is pretty much at a balanced market. They say that between 3 months and 6 months is a balanced market. Less than that would be a seller's, and more than that would be a buyer's. So right now we're in pretty much of a balanced market. And what about absorption rate? Well, the absorption rate is kind of like the opposite of the inventory levels. So our absorption rate for the month was 20.5%. So that means that 20.5% of the listings went under contract. Now, what about interest rates? Well, you know, we're a pretty heavy cash market here. About 60% of our deals are cash at all price points. And our interest rates as of today, national average was about 6.6%, which is coming down just a little bit. You know, the Feds had their rate cut and it came down 1/4 point, but that didn't really have an effect on what the banks were lending and the mortgage companies were lending, because most of those discounts were already baked in with them thinking that the Fed was going to have their rate cut. So I think that when we get down below 6%, we'll see a pretty good pickup on the number of people that want to purchase using a mortgage. So I hope you got value out of this video. If you did, just click that little subscribe button. And if you find yourself coming here to the Lakewood Ranch area and you're going to be looking for a home, I'd be more than happy to help you out. And if you currently live here and you're thinking about selling your home, I'd love to have a conversation with you about what that process might look like. Mark Boehmig, Michael Saunders and Company.